So I had just gone out on my own to be a private contractor after spending nearly 2 decades in various machine shops. And one of the first jobs I would take would show me just how naive I was in doing this and would put me on the brink of failure. It all started with the simple concept. The customer sat me down and showed me the blueprint for the part I'd have to make, and he explained to me the macro he wanted. And I knew immediately this would be one of the most difficult macros I'd ever write, and on top of that, the cycle time I was supposed to hit was virtually impossible to hit. The macro I was gonna write was to make the tooth profiles of a brooch. Now these brooches were huge, right? They were like 6 feet tall, had 62 teeth on them, and were made out of a really crappy tool steel called T16, which is probably one of the hardest tool steels I think is out there to machine. So I knew going into it, I probably wasn't gonna hit an hour. I knew it was okay if I got a little bit over an hour. The customer didn't seem too gung-ho on the cycle time being exactly 1 hour, so I knew I had a little bit of playtime. The first challenge I was gonna have to take on here was figuring out the trig. So the way this has to work is that the customer needs to be able to look at the blueprint and type in the numbers he's seeing on the blueprint, and the macro takes care of the rest. So there were 3 different tooth profiles on this that I had to figure out. 2 of them were virtually the same. I knew that wouldn't be too difficult, but the third one was a double tooth profile that had a lot of trig and geometry in it. Pretty complex to figure out. It took me about, I'd say, a week and a half to 2 weeks to write all that trig and test it and make sure it was calculating the endpoints properly. After that was on to the second challenge. The second challenge is figuring out the tool path you want to use to make this. Now it's really important you get this right, because whenever you're writing macros for customers, the last thing you want to do is go back in a year from now and have to figure out whatever it was you were thinking when you wrote that macro. So you really need to nail this right, especially when it's a macro this complicated. For instance, if you were writing like a grooving tool path and then in a year you decided you want to change it to a turning tool path, you have to go back in and look at what each macro variable does, which number it represents, how it's being used, all that stuff. It's a nightmare, so you just gotta get it right. So after about another week, I figured out the tool path geometry, and I figured out a good strategy, so I went with what I had. Now the third challenge wasn't too crazy, but I had to figure out how to make the subspindle pick and pull the brooch, because I could only do 8 teeth at a time. I couldn't just, stick this thing out 6 feet and manufacture 62 teeth. I had to do small sections, which I think it worked out to be like 8 teeth at a time. So the subspindle would need to have a program that could come up, grab, and pull out in different increments, and then restage your G54 or your 0 work shift so it could continue working on down the brooch. And the way I wrote it was so that each tooth profile you wanted to do, you would just say if it was 1, 2, or 3, where it was, and the machine would calculate the rest. So you'd have a bunch of sub-program callouts. I figured this would be good enough. I put in all my different program callouts for what tooth I wanted to do, and I pressed start. That's when I realized how much I had screwed up on this project. After about an hour, I wasn't even a third of the way through the tooth profiles. And I realized the mistake I had made was that I decided to rough and finish each tooth. I thought I could rough, come up, index, finish, come up, index, and then do the scallop. I thought I had enough time to do that. I figured 62 teeth at an hour and 15 minutes. That was about a minute per tooth. I figured I could do it that fast, but I was wildly incorrect in my thinking. So yeah, after about an hour goes by, I realized, oh crap, I'm only a third of the way done. 2 hours go by, I realized, oh God, this is not gonna work. And then after 3 hours go by, I realized I had completely failed. I knew I couldn't charge my customer for triple the cycle time, and I had just spent 3 weeks working on this in a shop. So this was pretty bad. I had just gone out on my own. I didn't have a consistent stream of income like I used to. I used to get paid in the middle and the end of every month. You could base your decisions off that. Like, oh, hey, I'm getting paid on the 15th. That means, I could do whatever. I could pay my bills on the 16th. I can, go to a concert or whatever. You could do things based off your constant stream of income. When you're a private contractor, that's not how it works. Your customers can pay you in 30 days or 90 days or not at all if you screw up like I did. So I knew that not only did I fail at this, but I had to go do other work to start bringing in income, or else I wasn't gonna be able to pay rent. I wasn't gonna be able to pay for the software I was using. I wasn't gonna be able to pay for the gasoline I needed to go to customers. I had to go start making money. So I go out to another customer and I just start working on normal, simple projects. And about a week later, my buddy, like my best friend that I made in this industry, calls me, and he had the project thrown on him. And he calls me and is like, dude, I don't know what I'm looking at. What is this? I mean, you've got 16 different programs here. What the heck? Like, they want me to make this happen in an hour. Like, can you at least give me a hint where to start? And luckily, because I knew him so well, I told him, hey dude, I really want to, make up for the fact that I kind of screwed this up and I didn't get it in the time I needed to get it in. So why don't you come over to my apartment, we'll cover my walls in paper, we'll get a dry erase board, and we will sit and figure this out. And he agreed to it. He said, you know what, screw it, I'll come in after work and we'll just figure this out bit by bit. So we laid everything out, and immediately we realized that we had a problem. The way I had written the macro was not how it could run. The machine could not run this way. You couldn't rough, finish, and then scallop each brooch tooth. You had to make it so it would rough, finish, scallop, or else you were never gonna get close to the cycle time. Now, that might sound like not a very big change, but the truth was the macro was already laid out to happen one tooth at a time. So we knew we had to divide everything up and have some sort of way to jump in and out of each tooth profile and then make it so the machine would recognize when it was gonna crash into either spindle and then make it go into the finishing and then make it go into the scalloping, paying attention to where it's at, paying attention to when it's gonna crash. And then after it did that, it would have to automatically go into your sub-program to do a pick and pull. And it would have to do this all automatically. There was no way we were gonna be able to throw that kind of thinking at the customer. So the machine and the macro had to make all of this happen automatically. One line of code was gonna do all of this. We knew that was the only way to make this happen. So we got started, and it was brutal. I mean, we probably spent the first 3 days just scratching our heads, just wondering, how are we gonna lay this out? How are we gonna make this happen? This is crazy. Even for him, it was the most crazy macro he'd worked on. I will say this, having someone else there to bounce your ideas off of and bounce their ideas off of you makes it way easier. And after about 4 days, we had this eureka moment where we just moved one line of code. I swear it was this simple. We moved one line of code and it just hit us. We both said, oh my God, this is it. If we use one sub-program like that to jump into other sub-programs, we can not only make this work, but we can add to it later if we need to, which is huge. And it's simple and it's easy. It was a really weird moment, but we knew right there and then. All we had to do now was just finish and make them really ironclad, make them really well written. And yeah, so we knew after that, all we had to do was just lay out our sub-programs, and this other program was gonna jump in and out of them just fine. This was going to work, we knew it. So we continued on. We went back to our other jobs, did them, and then at the end of the day, we would work on this. And then after about 2 weeks in total, we were done. We had everything done. And we decided to go in on a Saturday and test it out. There were some issues, there were some things we had to change, which it's really hard, right? When you have a program like the one I'm talking about, we had it was just under 400 different variables in this program. So it was a monster program. So whenever you'd run into an error where like something should have been positive instead of negative, or you used pound 611 instead of pound 610, diagnosing that when jumping in and out of 16 different programs is a pain, and it slows you down. Luckily, we only hit a few of those roadblocks, but it took us about 8 hours to run through our first one. And that was with hiccups, right? The cycle time wasn't 8 hours. So now that we knew we had a working program, we were like, all right, let's throw in a piece of stock and let's cross our fingers and let's hope to God that we got the cycle time where we wanted it. So that's what we did. We threw the stock in there and we ran it, and it came out at about 1 hour and 40 minutes. We knew was fine. We knew that there was room to improve. There were tool paths that could be sped up. We weren't trying to set any records with our machining. We were just really trying to do a proof of concept. So at this point, I knew we had a working macro. I knew I was gonna actually be able to send my customer an invoice and get paid for all my work. And my friend, my best friend in this industry, actually took the job, and he told me he got it down all the way to 1 hour and 5 minutes eventually, which is insane. If you could see this brooch and know that it was made out of T16 tool steel, that's really impressive that you made that in 1 hour. So my friend also got my back here and kind of saved me a little bit. Yeah, I gotta say, after doing this particular job, I learned a lot about when you're sitting down with the customer and you're making an agreement and you're gonna say, hey, this is what you want me to make, and hey, this is what I can do. When you have doubts and you have concerns, it's extremely important to bring them up. For me, it wasn't that I was scared to bring them up. I was just so excited to prove myself. I just accepted conditions that were nearly impossible. I mean, to make this macro happen on my own, just really not gonna happen. It wasn't because it was too complex, it's just the amount of time. I didn't even think for 1 second when I accepted to do this that it was gonna take me nearly 2 months to complete. Not getting paid for 2 months is, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, just think about not getting your next 4 paychecks or 8 paychecks or whatever, and how that would make you feel. It's not a good feeling. I learned a lot about it as a private contractor. In future contracts I actually had this exact situation pop in my head when making deals. I had a customer one time tell me I was gonna work on mill turn machines, and when I got to their shop, they had 5-axis machines from the 90s, and they wanted me to switch it up and do those instead, and I said, no, absolutely not. You brought me here to work on mill turns. I'm not just gonna, change the flow and then screw up my reputation. You need to be very firm on what you can do. Don't venture off too much from what you know you can do, because you can wind up hurting yourself more than you realize. What's really crazy about all this is because I could keep going on as a private contractor, that's what led to Titan finding me on LinkedIn and me getting a job at Titan's a CNC. It's because I was just posting my work on LinkedIn as a private contractor. People would let me post stuff whenever it didn't have an NDA on it or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I often wonder, had my friend not helped me out with this brooch program, would I be working at Titan's right now? I mean, who knows, right? It's kind of nuts to think about when you look at it that way. But yeah, that's a story of pretty much what I would say was one of my biggest failures that turned into a success. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, ring that notifications bell, and yeah, hope to see you guys again soon. Bye!